and welcome to the Business Spotlight. I'm Pat Dewar, and we have a very unique show today because today we're going to be addressing how media is changing. And not only that, but if you're a business owner, you really want to check into each of the professionals that I'm going to be having on my show. Instead of having just one show, we'll actually have 5 different professionals in the, I'm going to call it media, broadcasting, and internet world. If you look out today, you see Netflix, Hulu, and all of the different majors, whether it's CW or ABC or NBC or any of those, that have apps for your Android device, for your Apple device. All of those are out there so that you can see what you want, when you want, the way you want it. That's a unique world from what most of us grew up in. I'm a boomer, so I'm over 50, and I look at the way that we grew up. We only had a few different stations, 4, 11, 5, whatever. Different universe. In the last few years, the market has literally been shifting, not diminishing. So what does that mean? Well, my first guest is Luis Estrada. Luis is the managing director for ES Creative Gang in the Fort Worth area. He has worked on everything from Top Gun to Naked Gun and everything in between. He's worked with Ted Turner. He's worked with so many professionals in birthing whole networks all over the world, especially in Latin America and others. Luis, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You know, it's a real honor. We've done some things in the past. You've actually helped me with my show in the past as well. I wanted to get you on here because media is changing. How so?
Well, it continues to evolve. Just this past week, Netflix announced that they reached a very good threshold. They went over 50 million subscribers, which tells you it's a great milestone for them. It's a great business. Their biggest challenge now is the way that it gets there. Is their biggest fight is with the people that actually provide the internet for all of us, which is the Time Warners, which is the AT&Ts, which is the Verizons, because they're fighting against their competitor, and their competitor is the one that's actually giving them the internet services. So it's interesting. So now Netflix, Hulu, all these different services are now actually relying on their competitors to make sure that their service gets to us. And so the competitive landscape is becoming incredibly interesting. But again, like you said, you know, we have become a society, we've always been very, very self-centered. We know that, let's just admit it. And over the years, as technology grows and becomes more accessible, faster, quicker, we want everything to us, you know, when we want it, how we want it now. Just recently, and I'm just saying because my son's in the studio here, he had to downgrade his phone just for a variety of reasons. So I upgraded my phone, and he went down to an iPhone 4, and I went to a 5S, and he actually noticed the difference in speed. I didn't notice it, but he did. And so that goes back to show you that it's actually noticeable, and you're talking about milliseconds. I mean, literally milliseconds, but it's noticeable because it's faster, quicker. You know, how quickly we literally sat there and said, how quickly can you get on the internet? And we were talking about maybe a second faster, but that's how important it was to get on the internet and that quicker. How quickly could I get onto, get an email, get a text, you know, how quickly so I can respond quicker. And that's how we are. Same thing with entertainment. Translate that you're going through that on a personal level to business. Information is king. It's always been king. And how do you translate that into business? The same thing. When you go onto a website, when you go on to the guests that we're going to talk to later on today, and marketing, okay? You know, you need information. You need information now. If you're going to do business, I'm on Angie's List a lot of the time. I want information on Angie's List. I want information on a business. I want information on that. From anything from a gardener that a lot of people may say, well, you know, what do I need a gardener for? I need somebody to come fix my plumbing, anything like that. Because a lot of people may be watching your show, from an attorney to anybody, say, why is that important to me? Because you need to distinguish yourself from everybody else that's doing the same thing you are. And how do you do that? Well, you've got to find ways to distinguish yourself. And one of the ways is how do you use media? The internet, everybody's doing it now. Everybody's got a website, texting, Groupon. Of course, we know what's going on with Groupon. Okay, you try to get that attention. 50% off, 43% off, 75% off. And media, which includes video, has always been the most powerful a medium you can have, because you have an opportunity to tell your story with moving pictures, with music, and with images. So anyway, all you're doing is really using, through this medium, the show, a way that you can tell people, this is what I do and how I do it.
One thing I want to ask real quick, very quickly, two things that a business owner probably is not including in their message. You've got about 30 seconds.
They're not including moving images. They're not including video because they think it is too expensive. And it really isn't, because like anything else, technology has brought it to a point where it's affordable. The only thing you need to do is tell a good story and tell it in a compelling, entertaining way. And that's what we do.
Excellent. Luis Estrada, ES Creative Gang, great resource, good information. This is Pat Dewar. We're on the Business Spotlight, and today we're highlighting ways the media is changing your world, especially as a business owner. We'll be right back after we hear from our sponsors. And welcome back to the Business Spotlight. Today it is a very unique show. We're talking about media, video, and the way that it's impacting businesses in the local communities and nationwide. How often we see something on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or any of those, and if it doesn't have some sort of moving component, you know what? Americans tend to just move on by. Well, today I've got Valerie Riefenstahl. She is one of the co-owners of the Alternative Board in the Tarrant County area. And I want to get into really how you, because you've been on my show before, you've used video, you see the importance that it is for business owners. And especially, I know that your business owners tend to be about 1 to 40 million in revenue on an annual basis. So with the folks that you work with, why do you think video is so important for them?
Video is all about a way to connect with their potential or current clients who are checking them out on the internet, who are checking them out on, they Google you.
Absolutely.
Google you, and video will be clicked on much more frequently. A short 2-minute chat about your value proposition, how it solves the problem of that particular potential client that they are looking for. And that potential client is then much more, they don't feel like they're being sold, they feel like they're doing research.
Right. Well, don't you think that that's like one of the biggest, I want to call it marketing pains of the business owner today, is they're getting their business proposition or value proposition out there?
It is, and in our meetings, we meet once a month for 4 hours and work on each of the non-competitive owners' business. They all work on each other's business. We look at internet and websites and video a lot to ascertain whether they've got the message right, whether it is conveying what they do. One of our members created my Ristall brand for horse athletes. And so the video of Dr. Gail Trotter in the cutting horse finals, and that horse is magnificent, and that horse has had all the joint help and all the type of things that he does, and it really gets people to call. So video works.
Interesting. Why do you think people have a hard time creating content, whether it be audio, video, or even text? Business owners seem to avoid it like the plague.
It's an unknown. They don't know how much it's going to cost. Are they going to be creative enough to do it? Many barriers to entry like that. It's just an unknown. And when I did your show the first time to talk about a nonprofit that we are forming in the DFW area for trusted advisors, I was amazed at how that content chopped into small pieces, can be used in the website, can be sent to people. I was delighted to discover it's really easy to be interviewed like this. I mean, it works really well.
Well, and you even came back and you were telling me how I should adjust my messaging, because you thought that it wasn't just content creation, that it's a guided type of thing, and I appreciate that very much.
It is. You are a gateway for people to feel more comfortable creating media.
Very good. One of the things that I look at with content creation, I see it as being a challenge for so many people in the way that they are, I guess what I'm thinking about is that razor guy. I think about being funny and creative, and I'm like, ow, I don't think I can do that. Do you feel that humor is that important, and do you encourage your tab members to try to get funny?
Absolutely. And getting your message across through stories, through humor, what it does is people see you as more human. They see you as somebody they can connect with easily, like, oh, they're just a person like me, or, oh, I really get that story. And that's a great way to get your proposition across. When you encouraged me to tell some of the stories that of things that had happened, why I created that other organization, it really got the message across as to what it actually was for.
Right.
Easily.
Well, even, I mean, you guys have the short cartoon even. I mean,
Yeah.
That's the thing that a lot of people don't realize, is that there are so many methods of getting that message out. And I love your little cartoonishness where the guy jumps in the pond, or
Quicksand.
Quicksand. I messed that up
Jumps
last
in the
time,
quicksand, and the coach comes along and says, do this, and then he goes away. And the family comes along and says, we're not going to bail you out again, and they go away. And then the financial advisor comes along and says, do this, and you'll be here, and goes away. And he's still in the quicksand, and he's going, he said, help, somebody help me get out. And the tab board comes along, and they jump in the quicksand with him. And he's like, great, now we're all in the quicksand together. And they said, yeah, we've been here before, and we'll show you how to get out. And that's how a tab board works.
Well, and then what was so fun about, even when we were talking about that, your VIPDFW.org. That organization, really excellent for helping those folks in the tab to actually have resources to get them out as well. Trusted advisors. Because what's the old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's nice if you're pretty smart, but if you know some people that can help you out, they can really make a difference.
Yes.
Now, what do we've got just a little bit of time here. I guess I want to say, how can people get a hold of you? They should get a hold of you at your phone number?
My phone number, the website is thealternativeboard.com, just the way it sounds, thealternativeboard.com. And you can explore more. There's lots of video. There's a video channel on YouTube, so just Google us.
That sounds
That's the
great.
best way to do it.
Well, thank you so much, Valerie. I appreciate you being on the show. And again, we'll be back in just a moment, but you want to stay tuned, because I've got some more value in the area of video. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Business Spotlight. I'm Pat Dewar. Today we were talking about tools that business owners should use. When I look at all the changes that are happening in video today and media today, and for the business owner, you need to pay attention. My guest this hour, or this segment, is really Dave Swift. He's a marketing expert. You can get him at TheMarketing.expert out there. And he has been somebody, you've been somebody that has invested in, especially working with me in video for some time.
Correct.
Why have you been investing so heavily over the last few years in video and in getting it out there?
Patrick, the strategic marketing plan that we put together for this cosmetic dentist practice, in which we've actually done over 30 video interview sessions like this, is based upon the fact that most people who are looking for cosmetic dental procedures go online. So we need online marketing tactics in order to be able to eventually convert them into patients. So what I'm really looking to be able to do from an objective standpoint to implement this tactic is to be able to find a way to engender more trust in both the practice and the doctors, to be able to establish authority of the doctors, so after they have learned more about the procedures in general, they now look at the doctor as the one they want to have actually do that procedure. And when they go to the website to learn more, we want to be able to get better conversion rates out of that and actually get them in the chair, in the dental office, where they can have the free consultation and look at all the options that are available to them in case the research hasn't gone as broadly as maybe they had hoped it would.
Well, I would imagine with the work you do with dentists, because you consult in a marketing area to a lot of dentists.
Correct.
You're trying to get them to remove the fear factor, because I mean, the word dentist usually, gets people shaken.
Well, the fear and the mistrust, because particularly when you get into large ticket procedures, there is always the concern of, gee, are they just going to take my money? Are they any good at it? I mean, you're investing sometimes as much as buying a car and putting it in your mouth. Well, you can't just go turn it back in either. You've got to live with it for a while. So it's very important for the potential patient to feel as comfortable as possible. And the beautiful thing about video and an interview like this is not only being able to show the experience of the doctor and the technical prowess of the doctor, but the personality of the doctor. Because most dentists are introverts. Very few are extroverts. And so if you happen to be lucky enough to be representing someone who actually has a personality, then you can continually, over and above, differentiate that doctor from anybody else they may have met before, as well as who they might go in for another consultation.
Well, I know that some of the results that you've created are phenomenal. I mean, 4 years in a row, 11, 12, 13, 14, Consumer Choice Award winner for cosmetic dentistry in DFW. That's a client of yours. That's not bad.
No, not at all. And that's part of an overall marketing strategic plan to look at all aspects of how the service is delivered and so forth. But from a digital marketing perspective, one of the key things we look at is conversion from website leads to in the chair, or at least coming in for a free consult. And as with any good marketing 101, you want to measure those sorts of things, and we have. And what we found is when we used this kind of digital format, and not the whole show that we would do, but where we slice and dice it and put it into individual pieces, and then put those pieces on individual landing pages that tie to what the individual is searching for, what we end up with is a much higher, in fact, we got a 50% increase in rough numbers in conversion on pay-per-click leads simply by adding videos that you'd edited and sliced and diced with us to those pages that people searching for various cosmetic procedures arrived at.
Well, you just said something really important too, because I used to say, hey, if you want Google's love, you got to play with their toys. Me, now, I kind of go, you got to rent their toys.
Right.
If you want their love, you need to be kind of helping, paying for them to place it in front of your ideal client. But the conversion rate with video is so much higher. You also, I want to thank you publicly, because you were one of the first clients I've ever had that really recognized that what we do is content, not TV. TV is good. We're glad it airs. But you use it as content.
Oh, absolutely, and particularly as you get the various changes in the Google algorithms constantly, they seem to be going more and more towards content, which makes sense. And the beauty of video is that you can provide very excellent content for that.
One of the things that I'm really thankful for is you're actually setting up our next guest.
Oh, well, good. Always happy to do that, yes.
Segue that was like
and
better
I didn't
than
even know that,
the average bear. That's great. If you were, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, you work with a lot of dentists. How should they connect?
Well, dentists as well as other businesses as well.
Absolutely.
But if you're a dentist, go to the TheMarketing.expert URL, If you're not a dentist, then feel free to go to TheMarketing.expert. And for those of you who aren't aware, that .expert is kind of like .biz or .us. It's a new URL out there which seems appropriate in this instance.
Well, again, thank you, Dave, for being on the
You're
show
welcome.
again. And folks, if you're a business owner, by all means, you need to check out what he's created. You need to look at ways that you can utilize video to create content. Next up, we'll be going deeper into the Google algorithm. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Business Spotlight. Today we have a very unique show. I've had 3 other extremely professionals in here telling you ways, tools, and how they have used video to change their world, or how media is changing in your world. So if you're a business owner, you need to be chiming in on this one. I promised you this one we'd go a little deeper into the, if you want to call it, Google algorithm. I have Chris Heney. Chris is a, I want to say internet expert, but that's just like, it's so hard to explain. It's like if you can think of the internet as this iceberg, most of us humans dance around on the top of the iceberg where we breathe air, and Chris grew gills and he swims a lot deeper in the internet universe. Also I have Tonja Waring. Tonja, you work with Chris at Stick in Your Head. Chris, let's get into how has the Google algorithm changed?
It's been changing over time. One thing that it's really changing towards is user intent, understanding what a user really is wanting to find. And it's using some deep analytic skills that really dig into what we're looking for. And it's getting smarter and smarter, almost as AI would. So a couple key components to that is the analytics that it actually derives from your site. As well as other components, which your previous guest talked about.
Yeah. Well, now, Tonja, you do a lot of business development, and you're a bit of a decoder for what he says. So what's your take on what he just said?
Well, I recently joined Chris with Stick in Your Head because he is so technology driven. One of the things that really stands out to me is that you have to get real in your content, that we've had all of these people trying to figure out the algorithms and how do you do this, and they're actually putting out content that's not real. And so by talking about video content and really getting your message out there, Google is starting to recognize that you need to be real and true in what you're producing for their audience.
You know, I completely agree. Chris, one of the things that I'm curious about is how should people create more valuable content and steer away from just a sales pitch? Because even with this concept came out of how do we create a lot of value, a lot of instruction for business owners?
Touching on 2 points that you actually brought up previously, 1, conversion, and then 2, being personal. People are still people. They're still human beings. They want to connect with you and understand that you're real. A lot of times I compare using stock photos to using real team photos on your site. People, when they know it's authentic versus when they find out those were stock photos, there's a level of disappointment. So really connecting at a personal level. Regarding your previous question as well, Google actually has a patent. It's a search engine using user intent. If you get a chance, look at that patent because it really describes exactly what they're doing.
Say that again. Search engine
using user intent.
Okay.
That is there. It has a U.S. patent number. You can look it up on Google. I don't.
What does that mean for the audience? If somebody's using that or looking at that, what does that mean?
It means that SEO, as far as we've always known it, is kind of disappearing. Meaning no more spinning articles, no more. It is becoming a more organic, by not the overused term organic, but real life organic. It's got to really inspire people. People have got to engage. They know what people quote unquote like, and I mean in the Facebook terminology. So the ability to catalog and understand that and give you relevant results to you based on what 1,000 other people that have liked 1,000 of the same things that you have also liked.
Well, the thing that'd be a challenge, if I'm a business owner, I'm listening to this, I'm sitting there trying to figure out, but how do I make my business relevant and engaging, especially in the internet universe? Because we've seen things go from the yellow pages to the internet. The internet now is what the part of your budget that used to go to hard copy. How do we create that engagement there?
Well, I'd like to speak up about that because Luis had mentioned tell your story. So get very good at telling your story, and that's one of the first things that you really taught me, Pat, when I came on to do video. And I think video marketing a lot of times is intimidating because we don't know what to share with our audience, but by keeping it real and how Dave Swift talked about the conversions. So you can drive all the traffic you want to your website, but you really want to make sure that it converts. And I think people really can sniff out if you're being authentic and real about what you do, or if you're trying to create this great image. So just some tips on creating that video content that really speaks to your audience.
The funny thing is that you actually do that better than most anybody I think I've ever met on here. I mean, one of the first engagements I had with you was watching you on another production that's out there, and because you have done a lot of video, and you have one 10-second spot where you say, "My daughter said I never knew you hurt that much."
Right.
And I went, "Ah!"
Yes.
I mean, I was choked up, and I went, "Oh my God, that's gorgeous." So, I guess for the business owner, getting real with why he does, is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
And
They
then
need to
getting the
connect.
engagement on the other side. Are there any quick secrets on getting engagement other than talking to you, obviously?
It's really, I mean, it's no different than offline. It is talking to the pain point that they are concerned about, making sure that you gather the right kind of traffic. You can have a million of the wrong hits on your page, making sure that the right traffic is hearing the right message. And when that happens, and Google's getting better and better and better at giving that to you. So, and making sure that you're engaging with them and making sure that you are talking to what drives them, talking about the why.
Interesting. I really encourage you guys to get a hold of stickinyourhead.com. They can always go on the website. Chris and Tonja are brilliant at helping you get your message out. Today's show is really a bit different because I wanted to deliver some keys to you as an audience, whether you're watching us on YouTube or anywhere else in the universe or on TV, that you could use to realize that the new SEO is content, and the content with video is so much more powerful. You can get a hold of me at doertv.com or doersuccess.com. It's on the screen, and really, we'll talk to you next time.